It's hard to believe that 2 years have passed now since the Russian army invaded Ukraine in a brutal attempt to annex that European nation. And like 2 years ago, the Biden administration is imposing sweeping new sanctions on Russia. Since the outbreak of Vladimir Putin's war, ACMi News has kept in touch with John and Natasha Sennett, an American couple who has called Kyiv home for years. John Sennett told us in 2022 he and Natasha would take up arms and fight if necessary. ACMi News director Jeff Barnes recently spoke to John, who lives in the Old City section of Kyiv, despite the daily threat of all-out war.
By bias with all the consequences.
Huge explosions woke everyone in Kyiv as the Russian mission continues. Fiery debris falling onto residential buildings below. This is life in Kyiv now.
Obvious question, how are you hanging in there and what has changed for you in the last 2 years?
I guess the resilience part continues. There's a lot of pessimism, obviously. Nobody knows where or how it's going to go at this point. But people are, businesses are still open. New businesses are opening. I have a friend opening a business this Friday, right in the center of Kyiv. So, they're remarkable people in that they're just not giving up and they're not going to give in. They will fight with pitchforks. I mean, metaphorically. The air war is okay. The sea war is also okay. It's the land war where we're having problems.
And what would be the obvious solution, and what would you like to see coming from the U.S.?
Well, really, we need artillery ammunition above all else. That's where we're the lowest. We're low on ammunition. We're low on bullets. Tanks, things of that nature, they're keeping in reserve. Could we always use more tanks? Could we, Bradleys? We could always use more Bradleys. We can always use more ground equipment. But the essential thing is that we don't have enough ammo. Just don't have enough, including depleting air defense stocks as well.
Was there any concern in Ukraine after the attack that Hamas staged on Israel on October the 7th? It kind of knocked Ukraine out of the headlines for quite some time. Seems to be making a comeback here, but now this seems to be, for the United States anyway, a two-front war, and it's causing a lot of angst here stateside. What's the feeling of the Ukrainians over there when they found out about October the 7th?
We knew once that happened that it was not going to be good for Ukraine. Everybody here knew that. And, obviously there have been meetings between Putin and Hamas. Those have been public. I don't know if they published them in the States, but we know about them here. So we know that he had a hand in the game to take the attention off Ukraine and to take resources from Ukraine.
Ukraine is marking an anniversary of infamy. 2 years since Vladimir Putin launched his war on a nation he denies even exists. A war Russians are forbidden even to call a war. Ukraine has survived, paying a terrible human cost.
And on foot. Well, that's the expectation anyway. There's been a huge exodus from the city. Those left behind attempt to thumb lifts, heading west. Others stop passing.
But I'm tired. Everybody's tired. We're all tired. I don't want to say tired. We're exhausted is really what it comes down to.
The air raid sirens are irregular now. It's scary stuff. With their belongings, they try to hurry off the streets. Most head for the metro stations, trying to get underground.
We certainly thank John and Natasha for their time. And as always, we will keep you posted with the Senate's as events warrant in Ukraine.